one question that has come across is that, yes, nice, SDGs are good, we are happy what we could do so far, but are we on track to meet SDG? See, we started SDG discussion in 2015, right? And the target is 2030. Now we are midway, right? We are midway. Did we do better? Right? There are a lot of tracking frameworks we have developed. So based on data, what can we say? Did we progress enough on SDG targets? Are we on good track? Right? So that question is, I'm sorry to say, is rather bleak. Rather bleak in the sense that, recently, few months back, there is a special report prepared by the UN, which says this particular phrase. In past 3 years, the COVID-19 pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and the climate-related disasters have exacerbated already faltering progress. So our progress was already slowing down around 2019, but now after 2019, we have some problem. We have some problem here, and in this particular link below, if you click that link, it will directly go to the report PDF file, and that report is the most latest report published maybe 2 or 3 months back on assessment of this whole thing, and it says that it's time to sound the alarm. We are at the midway point, and SDGs are in deep trouble. So they did an assessment. The assessment said that out of roughly 140 targets with data, which they have data, only 12% are on track. Only 12% of the indicators are on track. Close to half, though showing some progress, they are moderately or severely off track. And some 30% of these targets have either seen no movement or regressed below the 2015 baseline. So as you can see that due to pandemic, rising food prices, war in Ukraine, so many other environmental calamities, we have big challenges. But looking at the midway of SDG, it seems that we have a lot more to do, and we are not in that great pace. And this particular figure shows by goal from SDG 1 to SDG 17, the yellow one is a fair progress, some progress, fair progress, but acceleration is needed. That's the yellow one, right? So if you see, the big chunk is yellow color there. Some progress, but fair progress, but acceleration is needed. If you look at the greens, they are on track to meet the target, and those green lines are unfortunately very few or very short, right? So progress are much less. But if you look at red, these are stagnation or even regression. Indicators have even slipped below 2015 baseline. So these are stagnation or regressed. So collectively speaking, there are few indicators which are on track to meet the target. A big chunk is making some progress, but they need to speed up, if they really want to meet 2030 targets. And unfortunately, there are many targets which are either stagnated or even went into negative direction. And of course, as you can see, on several indicators, there is insufficient data also, because after all, you need a country scale data, and some of the data does not exist. Yeah, and now how to scale it up is very important. How to strengthen our partnership mechanism so that we can move forward. And since these are all development oriented indicators, development oriented initiatives, maybe it's possible that the role of private sector and bringing private sector on board to really make it happen. Maybe we have not done enough. I'm not sure, but the partnership is very, very important. We have to work with the businesses, governments, society, INGOs, and especially economic sector. without working closely with the economic sectors, it's very difficult to meet that target. But this shows us little bleak picture, but we don't need to feel depressed, but rather how to organize ourselves better to move towards making sure that we achieve the target is what is important. Now, I'm not going to read many of these. This text I just copied from this document, whose link is there. This is a very latest SDG Progress Report, special edition of 2023, released just advanced version a month to 2 months back. It tells you where we stand. For example, in the current rate, 575 million people will still be living under extreme poverty in 2030. Will not meet our target of zero poverty or to eliminate poverty, right? Then only about 1/3 of the country will meet the targets to half the national poverty level. So we have a lot of difficulty. At the current speed, it will take 286 years to close the gender gap in legal protection and removal of discriminatory law. So there are a lot of, progress is very slow. In some area, regress, but progress is very slow. It only underscores the fact that progress is slow. And we need to do more on climate change, on, renewable energy. Yes, renewable energy, we are making progress, but still the percentage of the renewable energy in the total energy mix is still very small. So we need to substantially, increase that. If we don't move very fast, then it might take another 25 years to halt deforestation, and we might end up extinction of many of the species if we don't do on time. And especially since many of you are interested in energy also, so I put only a bit more focus on goal 7 progress, target 7.1, access to electricity and solid and the cooking, sustainable fuel for cooking, right? At the current progress is that the global population with access to electricity has increased from 87% in 2015 to 91% in 2021. There is a progress, especially for electricity access. But that growth rate has slowed. Before the growth rate was 0. The annual access growth rate, in 2015 to 19 was 0.8%, growth, but now it has come down to 0.6%. That means the improvement rate has slowed, even although the fact that population's access to electricity has made drastic gain. Similarly, target 7.1 for cooking fuels. 64%, population had access to clean cooking in 2015. It has increased to 17%, but there are several countries with the largest deficits, and the fewer than 10% of the population had access to clean fuel and technology. Now, access deficit in sub-Saharan Africa must be reversed. They have a huge problem. Target 7.2, renewable share in final consumption was 19.1% in 2020, which was 2.4% higher than 2015. We have made some definitely progress, but our progress has seen mostly in electricity sector. In electricity sector, renewable energy share is 28%, but in other sector, such as heat sector and transport sector, we have seen very, very limited progress. Target 7.3. Target 7.3 deals with the energy efficiency, which is energy intensity. That means in order to produce 1 unit of GDP, how much energy is needed, right? Now the rate of improvement in the primary energy intensity slowed and dropped to 0.6% in 2020, making the worst year for the energy intensity improvement since the global financial crisis. Right now, annual improvement through 2030 must now average 3.4% to meet the target of SDG 7.3. So as you can see that we have made some progress, but rate is slow, but in some cases, our progress has slowed. I'm not saying it has gone down below 2015, but what was in the initial year progress, the growth of the progress has slowed. And we have much more to do in order to meet SDG targets. And on implementation targets, say 7.A and 7.B, again, we have seen decreasing trends in international public financial flow in support clean energy in developing country. For example, in 2021, they amounted 10.8 billion, but in 2020, it reduced. It amount, sorry, 2021, 10.8 billion, and it has a significant drop from previous times. And again, target 7.B, there's a record-breaking installation of the renewable capacity, but even that is good, quite appreciable. But even with this rate, we are not in track to meet SDG 7 by 2030. So idea is that, yes, we are making progress, but in some area, our progress has been slowed. Otherwise, we really need to move very fast. Otherwise, we will not meet SDG 2030 targets. So sounds a bit of a depressing, but that's a reality. We shouldn't get depressed, but do our best to move forward, right? So that's what the government and the stakeholders must do. After 2015 SDG development agenda, there are many other agenda, right? And of course, SDG is an overarching development goals, cover everything, but you have a sectoral ones. For example, Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction, Addis Ababa action plan for financing for development, then the Paris Agreement on climate change, all these things has happened on development, sectoral area. Many other agendas are in line, and also, this follow-up and the review and the tracking framework for the SDG is very alive, and that is very important also. And also there is an annual so-called high-level political forum on sustainable development that serves as a central UN platform to really follow up and to look at and review the progress in SDGs. Some mechanism is in place. Now, before I finish talk, I just want to tell you about new urban agenda, right? That was unveiled in 2016. It's called new urban agenda, and it's called Habitat 1, Habitat 2, Habitat 3 conferences. So this new urban agenda has come up again to supplement again SDG, goal number 11, cities and all. It really supplement that. But this again has urbanization related, agenda. But basically, it calls for improving urban rules and regulation, urban planning and design, improving municipal finance, and strong national urban policies to make urbanization work. So let me stop here. I think what I tried to do is to give you the very evolution of the development agenda. But again, please remember that sometimes don't be happy with what's going on. Questioning is very important, right? Questioning that whether SDG is enough, whether SDG, are we doing enough? Are we on track? If we are not going to meet SDG, how we should move forward in the future? Which direction we should go? These things are very important, because remember, sustainability is an aspiration, goals for long-term future. Now, to reach that, we have to go through pathways, and we start with certain pathway. These pathways are not enough. We tweak, we move, we improve these pathways. Ultimately, we shouldn't be happy just saying, oh, we are happy to meet 2030 goals. Ultimate aim is sustainability. And whether 2030 goal is enough for sustainability or not, we have to keep on asking ourselves, and we need to move to the next level.